Welcome to the Just KNIME It Recap. If you haven't heard of Just KNIME It before, we provide you with a weekly data science problem and challenge you to solve it with a KNIME workflow. In the recap, I'll give some of my thoughts on the problem and highlight some of the solutions from the community on the KNIME Forum. The last week's challenge was to investigate some of the causes of death in the European Union. So, my first thoughts are that we're going to see a lot of heart-related disease, we're going to see some cancer, maybe some accidents, stuff like that. Maybe Alzheimer's will pop up, just to give some thoughts on what I'm expecting to find. Now, this challenge was one of the more difficult ones we've had so far because the data set wasn't very clean. You had a CSV file, and it was all kind of encoded. You have these different healthcare codes, and those codes are described in a separate file in the XML format. So we had to do some XPath parsing here. So that makes this one a little bit more difficult, and the dashboard a little bit less central to the solution. But let's look at the challenge. You work for the United Nations and want to discuss how the causes of death vary across the European Union. You know how to analyze the data and generate insightful visualizations, but the data you have is a bit challenging. The meaning of its different columns and codes is not clear. To conclude your work well, you will have to integrate this data with some metadata in XML format, making sense of the different death causes and data attributes. What patterns can you find in the different countries? Okay, so the first workflow I want to show here is by JM 1950 SJR. So the data we're looking at starts with this CSV file, and this is where a lot of the other challenges have started, but it's been a little bit easier to parse. In this case, looking at it, I don't really know what I'm seeing here. I see a lot of codes, and these codes are described in this second file, the XML file here. And we're going to have to use this XPath node to parse them out. Now, the different users here use different methods of parsing their data. The first one we see is with this XPath loop. So first, the XPath is queried. We get a list of the different codes. Here we see them. And then that is looped over. So that's one way we can do this. Another way, done by Birdie093, is to do two different XPaths alone with no loop. So he gets the columns, and then he uses that information to extract the column attributes. So this is for the codes again. The third workflow that I'm going to show here is by Martin DD. And Martin does this with just separate XPath nodes that run in parallel. So he extracts the sex, extracts the age, ICD-10, ResID, GEO, etc., and joins them all together that way. So there's different ways that we can go about solving this problem of addressing the XML data. Some of the dashboards here, if we take a look through. First at the top, we see all deaths reported. But what I think is really fun about this particular dashboard is if we go all the way to the bottom, we see this sunburst chart separating male and female death causes. And one of the things that's really cool about this is that I can click on these different things and drill down further. So let's click on male. The leading cause of death here is disease of the circulatory system, so that's not shocking. And I can kind of go down here and see how they rank in top causes. I can click to go back and look at the same for females. In the next dashboard, we also have some geospatial analytics here. We can filter and we can refresh these plots in that way. The third dashboard, we see a little bit different geospatial. We have this mapping here, and we can look at this by cause of death as well. So I can look at where most accidents happen and refresh this, and my map will update. So one thing that I would have really liked to see is rate-based deaths. So when we look at raw numbers, I'm noticing that a lot of things are skewed towards Germany because they have the highest reporting of deaths. So whenever I look at different death types, I see them always highest in Germany. So it'd be cool to see some of these as percentage-based reports. What do you think? Don't forget to use the hashtag JustKNIMEIT to submit your solutions either on social media or on the KNIME Forum. And join us next week for the challenge celebrating Pride Month. Bye.